Let the church say amen. Amen. If you don't mind, I'm going to ask for Kenya, if you will come up here with me. Amen. My lovely wife. As she comes, my name is Kevin Johnson. Amen. And I am a product of the Alabama Institutional Baptist Church. I asked for Kenya to come forward because Dr. Moss married Kenya and I 27 years ago. And we're still together, amen. And there's a story behind that. Mrs. Moss, because we are celebrating both of them, have played an instrumental part of our lives. I never will forget Mrs. Moss giving Kenya wisdom. Yes. And she said, baby, you gotta be the wife and the girlfriend. So this is my boo, y'all. My introduction to them was like Dr. Colvin at Morehouse College. Like Dr. Colvin at Chapel, you want to carry the bags of the preachers who come. And I would always find myself drawn to Dr. Moss. Dr. Thomas, he had preached this sermon. It was at a critical time for the college when we had just lost our president my freshman year. And he preached this sermon called Morehouse is an Unfinished Cathedral of Excellence. I will never forget that sermon. It stuck with me. And fast forward, it was Dr. Samuel DeWitt Proctor, who was the Founders Day speaker. And I was going through the line, shaking the hands, and Dr. Moss, Otis, he said, what are you doing this summer? And I said, I don't know. He said, I want you to come and work for me. And that's how this started. You all helped to raise us. You helped to rear our child, Miles. And we are beyond thankful to the Moss family. We have eaten at their table. We have slept at their home. They have just been the world to us. And many of you will look in the program and see that we now serve at Abyssinian in New York City. But there's a story behind that too. And the story is I tried to get at Abyssinian, but Dr. Bus didn't have any spots. So I did what every Morehouse man does. I used the Alabama Institutional Baptist Church letterhead. Because Dr. Moss was chair of the board of trustees. And after I wrote that letter, Dr. Butts responded to me, and hence the rest is history. Dr. Moss, Mama Moss, we love you. We would not be who we are without you in our lives. And Kim and I talk about this often, and I'm going to let, as a good husband would, his wife speak. But I remember when Miles was born, our first child, we were beyond nervous at University Hospitals. And the second person to hold our child outside of the parents was Dr. Moss. And Mrs. Moss was there with us every step of the way. So we love you.
Pastor and Mama Moss. One of my earliest memories, Pastor, of you with us is, of course, our wedding. It was specifically when Pastor Moss was rendering our vows and we were repeating after him, remember? And our Pastor Moss said, you know, in sickness and in health, for richer or for poorer, for richer or for poorer, for richer or for poorer. And I started to think, is he foreshadowing something here? He repeated it so often, and he was emphasizing that this was a covenant that we were making to each other, as he and Mama Moss had made to each other. and that there would be ups and downs, but that together we would be able to weather it. Mama Moss and I are California homegirls, right? And I first remember really our closeness when we would commiserate with Mrs. Carmichael, making apple pies and sitting at the table. Your home, your feet, was a place for me that was safe, and I just welcomed the opportunity just to be in your presence. It was a place of safety for me as I was a law student at Case, right up the street. And Mrs. Moss's, Mama Moss's sharp wit and mind always struck me, and I cherish the many times that we would spend just talking about cases, politics, what was happening in the world, and I always knew Mama Moss had an opinion. And it was a great one. So I cherish your wisdom. So finally, I know there's a quote that we often share, and it is simply this: a flower need not announce her arrival to the world. She just blooms. So thank you for being here.